And public safety front and center here in New York City following yet another deadly weekend. Tonight, Public Advocate Jumaane Williams is launching a campaign to reclaim the streets, and he's inviting all New Yorkers to what he's calling a virtual town hall to discuss how this will be done. Jumaane Williams is joining me now live this morning. So good morning to you, Public Advocate. Thanks for being here this morning.
Good morning. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So, Public Advocate, let's get into it. This weekend was once again a bloody weekend. The NYPD says that they are already reassigning officers to certain areas, but we've heard that for weeks now, and every Monday we're talking about this surge in violence. What else do you think needs to be done?
I think that's a great point, because what we're trying to say as we co-produce public safety is that we really have to redefine public safety, and police cannot do it themselves. If they could, it would have happened already. That doesn't mean that they don't have an important part to play. The question is, where are the other parts? And so if there's reassignments of an agency like NYPD, where's the reassignments for the other agencies in the city? There's a lot of agencies that have to play a part in co-producing public safety, as well as a lot of the community groups who don't have the proper funding that they need to get in those streets and assist. And so what we're doing starting today and in the next few months is outline a way that we really can co-produce public safety with a 10-point plan in different issue areas.
Yeah, and that's a good point, because last week a 6-year-old was shot at Juve, right? We covered that extensively, and community leaders took to the streets immediately. So you're talking about this co-producing a public safety. Would you be the point person? Because it seems like there needs to be somebody who would then communicate and delineate responsibilities and be the point person for everybody to figure out what areas need to be focused on.
What I'm hoping to do is to really begin to guide this conversation. I think there hasn't been someone who really has grabbed the conversation and tried to help the city walk through it. This conversation should be happening actually all across the country. But we've seen the discussions of the $1 billion, defund the police, people try to misuse what that means. And what we've missed in the last few months is someone trying to help us through this very tough conversation, because it is tough. And my hope is that as we announce what's coming out, as we have this town hall this morning, people can go to advocate.nyc.gov or our Facebook. We want to begin that discussion in a very real and meaningful way.
So you said your plan highlights 10 key areas that need to be focused on. Could you name maybe one or two of them that need immediate attention starting today?
Absolutely. First, we just have gun violence on there, which is a multifaceted approach. We discuss schools, mental health, homelessness, all of the things that if you look in communities that are not dealing with the type of violence that we see, all those things that are working well really do help co-produce public safety. This does not mean we're taking away personal responsibility for individuals. You cannot be out on the street shooting a crowd and 5 people and a 6-year-old. You just can't do it. But we have to have these intersecting conversations. And too often people just want to have one.
And also the NYPD unveiled this new disciplinary matrix as well, as steps towards police reform are being taken care of. You take issue with how NYPD promotions are carried out, right? Because that kind of ties into things as well. What's your issue here?
The matrix looked pretty good, what they were calling for. It's upsetting that it would take so long. This administration came in 7 years ago. And so some of these things would have been great a few years ago. Now we're past even some of that. We do see an issue with promotion, one in diversity, even if diversity at the bottom is getting better, except unfortunately for Black community, particularly Black males, but even that diversity, we don't see the type of promotions. And then we see promotions with people who have a lot of discipline issues. And these are ones that have also been substantiated. And so we have to see accountability. Those are 2 buckets that have been missing, transparency and accountability. And as we move forward in redefining what public safety is, we still have to make sure we have the best policing model we actually can have.
I want to just talk about another topic while I have you right now, because you criticized Mayor de Blasio's decision to move homeless out of the Lucerne Hotel on the Upper West Side. This story really getting a lot of traction on our social media pages. You're not alone, because there was a march yesterday as well calling on the mayor to reverse this decision. So do you think that the demands are falling on deaf ears? What do you want to see happen here?
I mean, I've had some disagreements with the mayor on a lot of issues. This one was probably the most obscenely, acutely blatant, and it makes no sense. The mayor and administration is now causing reactions throughout the entire shelter system because of a few. And it wasn't the entire Upper West Side. A few people can afford an attorney who's used to being at the bottom of these discussions. And it's just it's so obscene to watch happen. And I can take you to Queensbridge, East New York, where people have the same complaints and no one seems to care. The people who were complaining, the small group of folks, didn't even take the time to figure out that a lot of the complaints they had to do with the people who were street homeless, who are still going to be there because we've seen an increase in that because we failed when it comes to housing and homelessness. What we need to do is pause, stop this. These are not chess pieces. These are human beings. The people that I met, one in trying to get his college degree so he can better take care of his daughter after a recent split up with his daughter's mom. I saw a person in a wheelchair so excited because he just got supportive housing. I saw people who were working, trying to make the best of a bad situation. And so these are not chess pieces on a board. These are human beings. One person was almost sent to Queens, Long Island City, and she has a mobility problem. This was a reverberation in another shelter. Imagine going from Midtown, where you live right now, to Long Island City. It just needs to stop. That's what it really needs to do.
Understood, and we'll keep that conversation going. Public Advocate, I know you were involved in a car accident with a bike. How you feeling? You doing okay?
Praise God, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah.
We lost a member of a DA staff team in Brooklyn, but it was very eye-opening and very scary. I have to get some MRI still on my shoulder, but I thank God, says from aches and pains, we seem to be okay. Those things, it's just hard to tell sometimes. So we got some pain and some soreness, but we're going to move forward.
All right, and we'll talk about cycling safety at another time because we're out of time this morning. But thank you for talking about these topics and more. Stay safe to you out there, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Peace and blessings, love and light to you and the entire audience.
Thank you very much.